today's tutorial, we'll discuss on data types and we'll discuss also on operators. If you are just new into this channel, you may subscribe, like and share our videos. On our previous tutorial, we discussed on how you can write comments or you can use variables, and now you can and various syntaxes is used in Python language. Now, using the same way, which we are just load your test entity on my side. I'm using Visual Studio Code. In this part, we just need to create a new file. Then you just name it data types, or what you call data types .py. Okay, after you create a new file, now you can just come here and just write a comment there and just say data type refers to the type of data, and the data types are very vital. They are very vital or very important in any programming languages. There are various types of data types in Python which are inbuilt, which are set when one assigns value to a variable. And remember, you can print the type, or you can just use type. This function is just used to print out your data type. It's used to print out your data type. Let's see what you're meaning by this. Now, remember, you can have something like, you can have, let's say, in our previous tutorial, we just said that the various variables, okay, and in this part, as we're looking at data types, now we'll have, let's say you have this one, you may have this one is 78. 78 is just, as you know, is just a float, or it's just a int, or just a number, which is a int. Now, to print this number out, you can just use print, then you can just say x. Okay, sorry for that, this is print. Okay, after that you can just press Ctrl F, which just said you can use that shortcut to print out your results. Okay, it prints out int. You see now, here it has printed out the class is int. Now you can have another example here. You can have another example here as, let's say you have, okay, that one, then you can just have hello world. As you know, this one is a string. This is a string, as we discussed yesterday. So this is print. Okay, after that you can just run your program, see how it appears. Okay, it prints out string. So this is a short form for a string. You can have the float, you can have various types of data types that you know. Now in this part we'll be discussing various types of data types, and the first one we are going to look is called numbers. Numbers is the first data type that we are going to look, and numbers data type in Python is used to represent the numeric data. Okay, it may include complex numbers. You may have float, you may have int. So we may have an example of this one. So an example of a float you may have it as, or let's have this is a comment. A float is just something like 0.56, 56.9, something with a decimal point. That's what we mean by float. We may have 13.5. That's a float. The other one is just an int. A int is just a single number, like 2 may have something like that. That is just a hint. The other one is just a complex number. A complex is just where we have something, a number and a letter. A number like 4k, 6s, 8l, 8p, and all. Those are what we call now the complex numbers. Those are what we call complex numbers. Now, in this part, as you have discussed, you can use type to print out your data type. Let's say you may have print. Okay, for instance, you may have something like, you may have something like A, then you can assign it to for 36.9. Then you can just have print, then you can have type print A. Then you can run your program and see how it appears. Okay, after running your program, you see now it print out float. This is a float. It has a decimal point. It has a decimal point. Okay, the other one you can just have like 4, something like that one. It will print out int. Okay, those are the first type of data types. We have discussed numbers. The other one we'll be discussing is something else we call, the other data type we'll be discussing is called Boolean. Or this one is just uses Boolean data type in Python are represented by either a true or a false. It's just represented by a true or a false. Example of a Boolean data type is bool. Okay. So you may have, let's say, x equals to false. Okay. Let's say you can just come here and just print type x. Then you just run your program. You run, see how it appears now. Okay. So this is a bool. Okay, this is a short form for Boolean. You just use bool. Okay, now it has printed out because this is a Boolean. Okay, the other one is just true. It's just represented by either true, just what you call. Now this should be in capital letter. This is true now, so it will produce the same thing. It will produce the same thing. Okay, now these are the other type of data type we are going to look today. Is just what we call test. What we call test. Test is the other data type we'll be looking. Test, as you have discussed, test is just represented by a string, or what you call str. Okay, that is a short form for a string, and this is what is all meant by a string data type, or a test data type. Now, this data type is used to represent a string in Python. It's used to represent a string in Python, as we have discussed, and it's just short form is just str. Okay, we may have a combination of characters and numbers. Example of this data type is just a word or a sentence. You may have a word like, let's say, Python. That is a Python. That is a word. Then the other one you can have, we are learning, a sentence. We are learning Python. So that is a sentence. That is a sentence. So to print out this one, you can have either this one is equal to we are learning Python data types. Okay, you can just come here, then you just say print, you can have type, you can have y. Then you just run your program and see how it appears. Okay, after running your program now, you see that it produces out a string. This is a string. So you can have either a word or just a sentence. That's all a string. And that is what we call test data type. The other data type we'll be looking at is something else we call sequence. Sequence. Now sequence we'll be looking at is in a future tutorial by itself. It's just a topic by itself. Or you can just visit our website www.laticphilo.com and read more about our courses there. So this one will discuss it in future or in a future tutorial. Okay, this data type allows one to store more than values in a more organized way. They include range. You may have list. You may have set. You may have what you call okay. That is all what you call sequence. Sequence now they are just include range, released, this one. We'll also discuss this one as we'll be looking at arrays, as we'll be looking at various arrays. So this is, let's have an example of a list. You may have something like, okay, say y, you have y equals to, then you can just say, okay, here you can have mangoes, you can have either tomato, you just separate with a comma, then you can have something else, apple. So you can just come here and just print. Okay, run your program and see how it appears. Okay, after running your program, you see now it produces list. This is a list. This is a list. The other one you can just have it as a range. A range is whereby you can have something like, you can have x equals to range either 7. You can have it as 7. You can just say print, then you can just say type. So you can stuff x here. Then you run your program. Okay, after running your program now, you see now it produces range. So this is a range data type. There are various ways. We'll be looking at the other one. The list it by itself, set by itself as a chapter, tuple as a chapter, sequence as a chapter. Okay, by the end of the tutorials here, you'll know that Python is one of the easiest language to learn, and you'll come to like it. Anyway, let's continue. The other data type we'll be looking today is what you call binary. You can have binary data type. This kind of data type is used to represent binary data in Python. It's used to represent binary data in Python. It's just used to represent data type or binary type data in Python. Example of binary data type include bytes. You may have memory few and even, okay, you may have either byte, you may have binary few or memory few. Okay, sorry, memory few. You may have byte array, Okay, sorry for that. So this is memory view. So these are the various types of binary data types that we have. Let's have an example of this. You may have something like x equals to byte array. Then you can just have this one as just 9. Okay, after you run your program, let's see how to put. Okay, sorry, here you just need to print out. Here. You can just say print. Then you can just say type. You can have x. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, this is just okay. After that, you can just run your program. You see. Okay, after running your program now, you see now it produces a byte array. So you may have the other one as memory view. You can have the other one as byte array. You can have this one as, let's say you have y equals to memory view, or what you call memory view. Then you can just say byte. You can just say byte 10 at 10. You can have byte as 10. Then you can just come here. Then you just say print. Then you can just say have y, or what you call y. Then just go to your browser there. Then you run your program. After running your program now, you see now what it produce memory view. So those are the various types of data types we will be discussing today. Data types. So we are discussing data types, and those are the various data types as we have discussed them. So in the next part of our tutorial, we are discussing operators. You can just come here, then you just create a new file. Then you just say operators.py. Okay. Okay, in this part, we'll be discussing various types of operators as used in Python. So there are various types of operators. Operators may include comparison operators, You may have logical operators. You may have arithmetic operators. You may have assignment operators. Then you may have identity operators. Now this is what we call identity operators. They are all operators. Now as we'll be discussing various types of operators in Python, we can start with comparison operators. So I know this is not just a new world to you. Operators, we have discussed it in other programming languages. JavaScript, you have discussed them in C++, you have just discussed them in Java, you have discussed them in C, you have discussed them in other programming languages, PHP, and all those sort. So in this part, we'll discuss what are comparison operators. We can just start with comparison operators now. Okay, comparison operators may include equal. You can have equal. They are of various types. You can have equal, which is just represented by this sign. Okay, this is equal, not just equal. You can have greater than. You can have greater than, which is represented by that one. You can have less than, which is represented by this sign. You can have not equal, not equal, which is represented by this sign. Use an exclamation mark, just a equal sign, not equal. That one represent not equal. So the other one you can just have greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So those are various types of comparison operators. Now we can just have an example of this. Can just have an example of this to illustrate how. So we have, let's say, x equals to 6. You can have y equals to 9. And you can just say if x is greater than y, you can just say print this is true. This is true. Else print else this is false. Okay, there is an error here, unexpected. Unexpected indent. So this is just, so it should be the same as print. Print and print should be in the same line. So this one is just the problem not fixed. Expected. Okay, it should be in the same line with if. Now that is what we mean by indentation in education. So you can run your program and see. As you have seen, obvious 6 is less than 9. So we have said if x is greater than 9, or if 6 is greater than 9, print this is true. Else print this is false. So yes, we expect the output to be this is false. Let's run our program and see. Okay, it prints out this is false. This is false because 6 is not greater than 9. Okay, that is what you call comparison operators. We can have more expression as you can have not equal. So this one print this is true. So if 6 and 9 is not equal to, or if 6 is not equal to 9, print this is true. Else print this false. Obviously you expect this is true because they are not equal. 6 and 9 are not equal. Let's run our program and see. It prints out this is true because 6 and 9 are not equal. They are not equal. Okay. The other operators you can just use for your practice, you can just use the other comparison operators which is discussed, greater than or less than or equal to. So okay, for the equal, sorry for that, is just equal to equal signs, two equal signs. So you can have this one as, so if x and 9 are equal to this one, print this is true, else print this false. What do you expect? You expect this is false. Let's run our program and see. It prints out this is false because 6 and 9 are not equal at all. Now, the other part we'll be discussing is something else we call arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators are of just various types. Arithmetic operators, they are of different types. We may have addition, or arithmetic operators. They are just operators that are used to perform common mathematical operation. As you know, addition, subtraction. May have, okay, so for this is what's this. Okay, subtraction, we may have division. Okay, for this one you just use plus sign. For this one you just use this sign or hyphen. That is false. Then this one use a slash, forward slash. Then you can just use the other one. The other one is multiplication, whereby we use this as star. Okay, the other one is just x modulus. Then this one we just use percentage. It's just used for calculating percentage. So these are various types of arithmetic operators. We can have an example. For instance, you can have this example here. You can have either x equals to 30. You can just have y equals to 40. Then you can just say print x plus y. You can just run your program and see the hot. Okay, after running your program, you see now it produces 70 because that plus 40 is equals to 70. You can have either slash, then you just run your program and see what appears. The output. After running your program, you see now it produces 0.75 because it divides this one and this one, you get 0.75. You can multiply. You can just multiply and you just run your program. After running your program, it outputs 1200 because it multiplies 30 and 40. It prints out 1200. Okay. The other part is just modulus. You can just use modulus. Modulus is just used for calculating percentage. So you can run your program, then see the output. See now it produces 30. The modulus of these two numbers is 30. So the other part we'll be discussing else is something else we call. So you can just use various types of arithmetic operators using more types of data variables, or you can just have something else like, let's have an example here. You can just write this equals to 100, then the other one is just y equals to 200. Then you can just have z equals to x plus y. Okay, x plus y. How do I? Then you can just say print z. So it's just the same. Okay, you can just run your program and see the output. So after running your program, you see now it produces that 300 because it has this one and this one. So for the first thing, I've just indicated this one and this one. So z is just equals to the x plus this one. 100 plus this one, you just get 300. Now So there are various types of arithmetic operators. So the other part we'll be looking at is something else we call logical operators. You can look at logical operators. Now, logical operators. For the logical operators, we have different types. You can have add. Okay. You can have add. So for the add is this operator returns true. Okay, we have just said logical operators, they have different type. This is add or not, and returns true if the two expression are true. Returns true if the two expression are true, or returns true if one of the expression is true, or just give us a true outcome. Okay, this not reverses the result. For instance, if the result was supposed to be true, it brings out or it outputs false. So we may have an example here to illustrate what are logical operators. To illustrate logical operators. Let's say for the first case you can have this one is 10, then the other one you can have 4 is 15. Okay, you can just say print x is greater than and x is not equal to y. Okay, as you see this example, this expression here, this expression here, x is less than y, 10 is less than 15, so this is true, this expression is true. And the other one is 10 is not equal to 15. Obvious x is not equal to 15, so the other expression is true. So this one is and. We use and to return true if the two expressions are true. If the two expressions are true. Let's run our program and see this result. Okay, after running our program, you see now it brings out true because the two expressions are okay. Let's say you have or, you can have or, then you can just change this one to greater than. Okay, after changing that one to greater than y, you see now this expression is wrong because this one x is not greater than y. X is not 10 is not greater than 15, but this one is true, they are not equal. It brings out results. We have seen that or is just used to return true if one of the expression is true. If one of the expression is true. Let's run our program and see. After running our program, you see now it brings out true. It brings out true. So what if we have said that it returns true if one of the expression is true? What if none of the expression is true? Let's say you have equal. You see, this one is not equal to this one, and this one is not greater than. So this expression is wrong, and also this expression is wrong. Let's see the result. It outputs false. It outputs false because both expression are wrong. Both expression are wrong. None of the expression is true. So the other part we'll be looking at is not. It's not. As we have run the two expression are, let's see, okay, to illustrate not, we just need to write this. Let's say you have print, then you can just use okay. You can have an expression here, x is greater than y. So this expression is, you see, this one is wrong. This expression is wrong because x is not greater than y. So to use not, you just you include exclamation mark there. Okay, you include this sign there. Okay, include see now you have just used not before the expression. You have just used not before the expression. You can just run your program and see how it appears. You see now, you have just used not. This expression, as you know, is false, but it has printed out the true. Why? Because not refers the result. If it was true, it ought to put false. If it was false, it ought to put true. So that is how not is used. It's just used before an expression. You just use it before an expression. Now, the other part, the other type of operators, the other types of operators we'll be discussing is assignment operators. We'll look at assignment operators. Assignment operators, they are of different types. Assignment of operators, we can have and assign, we can have subtract and assign, you can have multiply and assign, you can have divide and assign, you can have remainder and assign. Now these are various types of now what we call assignment operators: and assign, subtract and assign, multiply and assign, divide and assign, remainder and assign. So this one is just used by, so this one you can just use it as, you can just use a plus sign and the equal sign. This one you just use minus or if not just a equal sign. This one you use a star and just equal sign. Then okay, sorry for that. So this one you use a slash and equal sign. The other one just use plus and just equal sign. So these are the sign now that are used. These are the sign that are used now. Okay. What is all about what we call another sign? Another sign is whereby it adds the values and it assigns the result to the left operand. Let's say you have C and this one plus and assign B. Okay, so this is just an example, C and this one. So the result will be, okay, sorry for that, the result will be C equals to C plus B. So this is what we call and assign. This is what we call and assign. Whereby you have the two operands, the left and right value, whereby you want the two values and assign the results to the left. So this is the left value or left operand. So it adds the two and assigns the result to the left. Okay, this is all we to be talking about. It adds the two operands and assign the result to the left operand. So you can just use the same for subtract, multiply, divide. It is subtract the two operands and assign the result. So if we subtract, we'll just have minus here. Okay, this one. So it adds and so the other one is divide. It then divides and assign the result to the left. The remainder it in just calculate the modulus for the two numbers and just assign it to the left operand. So you can just have an example here from better understanding. Whereby we'll just have print, and now print x of that one. That is just an example. What we are talking about here, so it should be print x equals to x plus or plus 7 or x plus 7. You can just use the other types of assignment operators. You can have defined assignment, remainder assignment, multiply assignment, and all those sorts. So this is what we are. Thank you guys for watching. Actually, we have just come to an end of our training today. We're just learning about operators. So if you are just new into this channel, remember to hit the subscribe button, turn on notification to avoid missing our future tutorials. Thank you guys for watching.